Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it's time for a max effort lower day, but a quick reminder for those of you who watch these videos, please remember to click like down below. It'd be greatly appreciated. A couple things different. I went ahead and showed a little bit of warming up today. I think I'm going to do that in some of these because I used to joke about warm-ups, not really do warm-ups. I've lifted some pretty heavy weight without warming up, but these days I'm getting more into it because a number of really good coaches do point out that you can build GPP this way. So I do some higher rep stuff to warm up at the start of my workouts, and I just showed some of it. And I'm actually slowly building it up to give you guys an idea. And so for a lower day today, I come in and did a 20 rep belt squat and then a 20 rep reverse hyper back to back. It's just like a little superset just to get some blood flow going, get blood flow to my low back, everything else before I lift any heavy weight. And today I went ahead and just did a normal sumo pull. I was unhappy with it. I'm going to start doing over time more of the classic lifts. I've got reasons that for this month I'm going to do a little bit more deadlift specialization. But coming up in the near future, we'll rotate the squats and the deadlifts. And I'm going to start actually, before long, testing my classic lifts more often than we normally would on conjugate, just for a little more specificity for powerlifting. And there's ways to make it work if you want to do it. The main thing is just not doing them too often, right? And I think in this case, no more than once every 4 weeks to hit one of them and have other stuff in between. But the sumo today, major hip weak link, but we know that because I hadn't been doing all these belt squats, right? I just got it again because I had taken time off from it because it was getting dangerous the way I had been doing it with just free weights, the amount of weight that I move. So I know that my hips have to some extent gotten a little weaker, and when I got under a sumo I found out how much weaker, because if you guys watched the grind, I did a grind with 570, right? These were easy. Even I think, 515 on the second pull was easy, not a problem, went right up. I got to 570, you guys will see that I shimmy and shake and grind through the middle. That is hip weakness, right? And then I just explode through the lockout. Once I get past that shaking and again overcoming that hip weakness, I just exploded the last third of the lift, which you guys will see coming up here. So again, we see where the weak links are, and again I'm unhappy with that. I had really hoped 570 would be just a training max when I went to grab it. That was a plan. I did not expect it to be a grinder. So again, my sumo needs work, and there's a lot of things I can do with that. Mainly those belt squats are going to be a big deal. Certain styles of good mornings, but we know that with the good mornings too, don't we? Look at that shimmy and shake, and then it just locks, right? My hamstrings, once they were able to engage, were able to lock it really fast, but that needs some work. I decided to mess with, because again, my shoulder health is getting better. I need to practice getting in a low bar position. So I thought for today, and this looked horrible. The first set was so bad. I'm like, let me use the buffalo bar. This thing was never comfortable. And I noticed on the last set some asymmetric loading, felt a little bit of crampiness in my low back, so I called it at 4 sets. And I think what I'm going to do, you guys are going to notice, since I'm rotating supplemental work every week, I don't need as much variation inside the week. I'm going to come in and just most of my supplemental lifts, I'm going to do just 4 lifts. And that includes upper days, right? I only need 4 lifts. I can fill in the gaps with my band work and restoration in between. So I think you guys will be surprised what choices we go with there. But for lower, we're going to be doing a good morning of some type, some sort of belt squat, some sort of glute bridge or hip thrust, and then we'll do a hip hinge of some type for the 4th one each time. And I'm going to take my reverse hyper over to restoration. I'm going to do it as just GPP and restoration. I'm not going to use it as much on the main training days. But these, as I got into the groove, they got a little better once I got the bar further down my back, but these never looked good. These never ended up looking good, I don't think. But as I got further along, they turned a little bit more good morning. But again, very unhappy with this today. This bar, for me, is just not the best right now. And mainly it's because the bar was so uncomfortable on my back getting it into a good position. And I think this last set here is probably the best one, but the loading felt asymmetric. So, I mean, we got a lot of low back work here, but again, this is not working as well as my other bars. And the funny thing is, even though you watched the range of motion here, it felt like I was doing full range of motion. That's the crazy part, right? This felt like a full range of motion. But we still got a training response from it, but it looks bad. Overall, not super happy with it. And we'll go over and use the other bars. We're just going to not bother with that bar for now. I am so much more proficient using the other bars, but I do occasionally need to do something like that to where I try to throw a different bar on my back. It was awkward. Glute bridges, the 585 felt relatively easy for 5, so I went ahead and went up 10 pounds and did 4 more sets. And I think this is going to be what I'm going to do, mostly going to be 5x5s, right? So we're going to work with 4 supplemental work. And I'm picking mostly big movements, so it's not really a big deal. Because again, if I'm going to do anything small, you know, like face pulls and band press downs, that can all be done for really high reps. But these went pretty good. Happy with the glute bridges. My hip thrust pad is actually going to be delivered today. It may actually be delivered by the time this video is up. It's actually out on the truck. I'm in the delivery window now, but we didn't have it in time for the workout. But again, I need the extra glute work. We need all the work here. So we're going to work with these because I found that they carried over. When I was doing lots of hip thrusts and glute bridges, I saw direct carryover to my conventional deadlift, right? What built my conventional the best? Good mornings, hip thrust, glute bridges, pull-ups. Really seemed to have built when I got it past 600 the first time since being back on YouTube. Those are the lifts that built it. So we're going to put a bit of the focus, but I want to focus on the Sumo also. But again, we'll rotate in these glute bridges from time to time, and I'm mostly going to work with hip thrust because I can put bands and chains on that, right? So I get more variation. It's a lot harder to get variation with this. And the first rep is always rough for me on a glute bridge, mainly because I can't get my feet into position. They slide. So as my reps go, they get better. But again, happy with those. The belt squat took me my first set to really get into the groove, finding the right position. The 4th and 5th set went better. So we did a 5x5 with this with a 20-pound increase. Now, this feels like about all I can handle for 5s, right? We're pretty much pushing the limits. So we ended up with this, and then I finished off with my glute ham raises, but I left these shoes on. I left my Chucks on, hoping I'd get better grip, but it actually increased the length of the moment arms and it made them more difficult. So I struggled to even get 3 sets. So I got like 5, and then something like 4. And then I was done. That's all my hamstrings could handle. So my overall volume didn't end up being 5x5 on everything. And mainly the hamstring dominant stuff didn't. But again, my hamstrings are a strong point. I'm not overly worried about it. But next time we'll try to do better on that. And again, I'm going to do a different bar. That bar is just not going to be that workable. Like I said, I still got a training response from it, even doing, I guess, the 372 for 5s. But it never felt right. I never got the bar path right. The range of motion never looked correct. And it felt loaded asymmetrically no matter what I did. Just due to the nature of that bar. So we'll go over to the other bars. But these felt good. The glute bridges felt good. These felt good. So I think we've got good exercise selection here. And I think we're going to see my lifts come back up real quick, my lower body lifts, because any regression that's happened for certain lifts just has to do with atrophy of certain muscles that have been underused. Because again, when you start hitting 600 plus squats and deadlifts, you can lose that real fast. Like if one muscle regresses involved, you start dropping back down into the 500s again. So I need to have these tools available and I need to be using them year round. And that's one reason I'm getting all this equipment and I've been building it up to make sure that I can do those movements and have the variation available to keep doing these movements without overuse and to do them safer. So again, the equipment matters. And like I said, this workout, I mean, I'll live with it. I wasn't happy with everything with this workout. I wasn't happy with the way that max sumo went with 570. It should have been cleaner than that. But again, I know I've got a hip weakness that's recreeped back up. We have to fix it, right? We need that sumo back past 600. The good mornings, it was the bar choice today, but I needed to try it, and it felt good to actually practice getting some more low bar work. So we'll do some straight bar stuff coming up, maybe for some of my speed squats, some of my back squats. We'll go ahead and get a power bar on my back in the near future, right? Something we need to do and start getting used to that bar again. And I think for the good mornings, we'll just stick with using the other 2 bars. And if I need variation, we can change stance. We can put chains and bands over the bars. Not really a problem, easy enough to do. I have all the equipment to do it. Might as well make good use of it. So I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.